Welcome back to Rugby Obsession. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our deep dives into the world of rugby.
Oh, yeah.
And speaking of thrilling,
Thrilling.
let's rewind to that epic England-France Six Nations clash
At Twickenham.
at Twickenham on February 8th.
A match that had everything, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And that's why we're here
High stakes.
to unpack this match,
Edge of your seat moments and a finish.
not just as spectators, but as analysts.
That sent shockwaves through the rugby world.
We'll explore the key moments,
Mm-hmm.
dissect the performances, and try to understand how England managed to snatch victory in literally the last minute.
Literally the last minute. Because, a 1-point victory over France, especially after trailing for much of the match, that's a significant shift in the Six Nations landscape.
Huge.
This wasn't just about the points on the board.
Right.
It was a statement win that broke England's losing streak against top-tier teams.
And what a way to break it. Elliot Daly scoring the winning try with seconds left on the clock. A converted try no less to bring the final score to 26-25. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's rewind to the beginning. What was your initial read of the game, especially in that first half, where France seemed to be dominating?
France was undeniably in control early on.
Yeah.
They dominated possession, had a powerful scrum, and their attacking phases were impressive. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
Dominance doesn't always translate to points. France had several missed opportunities.
Interesting.
They weren't clinical enough in finishing those chances.
Yeah.
And they went into halftime tied at 7-7.
Which I imagine must have been frustrating for them.
Oh, absolutely.
They were playing some brilliant rugby, but not getting the reward on the scoreboard.
Precisely. And credit must be given to England's defense.
Yeah.
They managed to disrupt France's rhythm, particularly when it came to Antoine Dupont.
Right.
He's their star scrum, half the orchestrator of their attack.
Yeah.
And England did an excellent job of containing him.
They kept him on a tight leash, didn't they? Which brings us to a fascinating point on the English side. The debut of Finn Smith at fly half.
Yeah.
What did you make of his performance?
Finn Smith's debut was the talk of the match.
For sure.
He was sensational, showing composure and skill beyond his years.
Really?
For a young player to outshine the more experienced Marcus Smith on such a big stage is remarkable.
He certainly didn't shy away from the moment, did he? And it wasn't just about flashes of brilliance. He had a direct hand in several crucial scoring plays. If you're enjoying this detailed breakdown, by the way, make sure you subscribe to Rugby Obsession for more insightful analysis like this.
Absolutely. Finn Smith had that early mistake where his kick was charged down, but the way he bounced back from that, the maturity he showed, it was incredible.
Right.
Then you look at his role in Tommy Freeman's try,
Yeah.
the conversion of Finn Baxter's try, and of course that final assist to Elliot Daly for the game winner.
Yeah.
He orchestrated the attack beautifully.
He had a hand in almost every try. Talk about a dream debut. But it wasn't all smooth sailing for England, especially in that second half.
No. The second half was a roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
With both teams trading blows, momentum swinging back and forth. We saw early errors from both sides.
Okay.
Marcus Smith for England, and a missed opportunity for Louis Bielbieri of France. And then there were those crucial penalty kicks from Thomas Ramos for France, keeping them in the game.
Right.
It was a tense affair, wasn't it?
It was. And then, boom, Ollie Lawrence powers through for England, showcasing his incredible strength.
What a try that was. And moments later, there's that Northampton Saints connection coming to life with Finn Smith setting up Tommy Freeman for another brilliant try.
Those two are clearly on the same wavelength, having played together at the club level.
Yeah.
But France wouldn't go down without a fight.
Of course not. Damien Penaud, one of the most dangerous wingers in the world, responded with a try of his own, reminding everyone that France is never truly out of contention.
And then just when you thought it couldn't get any more intense, Finn Baxter scores for England. Those powerful drives, wave after wave of English attacks, it was relentless.
The tension was palpable at that point. And then, of course, we come to that final play. It's almost poetic, isn't it? Elliot Daly, who hadn't had the greatest of games up to that point, finds himself in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
And Finn Smith, cool as a cucumber under immense pressure, slots that conversion to seal the victory.
It really was a storybook ending and a testament to England's resilience.
No.
But what I found particularly interesting was that, despite France's early dominance, England never seemed to panic. They stuck to their game plan, absorbed the pressure, and waited for their opportunities.
That's a hallmark of a well-coached team, wouldn't you say?
I think so.
England's composure in the face of that French onslaught was impressive. And when their chances came, they were clinical in taking them. It's easy to focus on the final minutes, but England's set-piece dominance throughout the match played a crucial role in this victory.
Yeah, their scrum was rock solid, wasn't it?
Rocks up.
And their lineouts were efficient, giving them a platform to launch their attacks.
Exactly. Their forwards laid the foundation for this win, and it allowed their backs, particularly Finn Smith, to orchestrate those game-changing plays. It was a true team effort, with every player contributing to the final outcome. And speaking of team efforts, you know what else is a team effort?
What's that?
Building a passionate rugby community. And that's what we're doing here at Rugby Obsession. If you love this kind of in-depth analysis, make sure you hit that subscribe button to join the conversation.
We love hearing from our listeners and getting their insights on the game. But back to the match. What did you make of France's performance? They came into this match as favorites, and while they had moments of brilliance, they weren't quite their usual selves, were they?
That's a great point. France wasn't as clinical as we've come to expect. Their attack, while potent, lacked the precision and finesse we've seen in previous matches. They made uncharacteristic errors, both in handling and decision-making. And as we discussed earlier, England's defense, particularly their rush defense, did an excellent job of disrupting their flow.
It seemed like they were rushing their passes, forcing things that weren't there.
Exactly. And when you have a team like England putting you under that kind of pressure, those forced errors become even more costly. But even in defeat, France showed glimpses of their championship pedigree. Damien Penaud's try was a reminder of their attacking threat, and their fighting spirit was evident throughout the match.
They never gave up, did they? And that's what makes them such a formidable opponent.
Absolutely. They'll learn from this loss, make adjustments, and come back even stronger. That's the mark of a true champion. And, that's what's so captivating about the Six Nations. Every match is a battle, and the momentum can shift dramatically from week to week.
It's a tournament full of twists and turns, and this match was a prime example of that. You had the pre-match expectations, the early French dominance, then England's fight back, and finally that heart-stopping finish. It was a match that had us all on the edge of our seats. What were some individual performances besides Finn Smith that stood out to you?
Well, on the English side, Ollie Lawrence was a force to be reckoned with in the centers. His powerful runs and relentless tackling were crucial in turning the tide for England. He's a player who seems to relish the physicality of the game.
He was a real handful for the French defense, wasn't he? And Tommy Freeman on the wing, his speed and agility caused all sorts of problems for France. And that try he scored beautifully set up by Finn Smith was a thing of beauty. That Northampton connection was on full display.
It's clear that their understanding and chemistry from playing together at the club level translated seamlessly to the international stage, and it's a testament to the depth of talent coming through the English system.
And on the French side, even in defeat, Damien Penaud showed his class. He's a world-class finisher, and his try was a reminder of his exceptional talent.
He's a player who can turn a match on its head with a single moment of brilliance, and despite not having their best day overall, France still has a lot to offer in this tournament. They have a talented squad, experienced coaching, and a fierce determination to succeed.
They'll be back, no doubt about it. So as we wrap up our analysis of this epic encounter, what are your key takeaways from this match?
Well, for me, the biggest takeaway is that England is back in contention. This wasn't just a win, it was a statement of intent. They showed that they have the talent, the game plan, and the mental fortitude to challenge the best teams in the world. This win will inject a huge amount of confidence into the squad, and they'll be a force to be reckoned with in the remaining matches.
It's a huge boost for them, both in terms of points on the table and in terms of belief. And what about France? What do they need to do to get back on track?
France needs to rediscover their clinical edge. They created plenty of opportunities but weren't sharp enough in their execution. They need to tighten up their handling, improve their decision-making under pressure, and perhaps look at ways to vary their attack to keep opponents guessing. They also need to find a way to better contain players like Finn Smith, who can dictate the tempo of the game.
It's all about learning and adapting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Every match is a learning experience, and the best teams are the ones who can analyze their performance, identify areas for improvement, and come back stronger.
Precisely. The Six Nations is a marathon, not a sprint, and there's still a long way to go. Both England and France have the potential to go all the way, and I have no doubt that we'll see more exciting rugby from both sides in the weeks to come.
This match has certainly set the stage for a thrilling tournament. And speaking of thrilling, we love hearing from you, our listeners. What were your thoughts on this epic clash between England and France? Who impressed you, and what were your key takeaways?
We want to know what you think. Head over to our social media pages and share your insights. We're all part of this rugby community, and your perspectives enrich the conversation.
And remember, if you're enjoying this deep dive into the heart of the Six Nations, be sure to subscribe to Rugby Obsession.
That's right. We're your one-stop shop for all things rugby, so hit that subscribe button and join the Rugby Obsession family.
This England versus France match was a classic, wasn't it? A real reminder of why we love this sport.
It was.
The passion, the intensity, the strategic battles unfolding on the pitch.
Yeah.
Had it all.
It did. And for those new to rugby, or even seasoned fans, I think this match highlighted so much of what makes the game so special.
Yeah.
You saw individual brilliance, of course, but you also saw the importance of teamwork strategy and that never-give-up attitude.
And that's what we try to do here at Rugby Obsession, to give you that deeper understanding of the game, to go beyond the surface and really analyze the why behind the what.
Exactly. Because when you understand the nuances, the tactical decisions, the individual battles within the larger war, that's when you truly appreciate the beauty and complexity of rugby.
Well said.
Yeah.
So what's the one lasting impression you'd like our listeners to take away from this deep dive?
I think it's this: rugby is a game of constant evolution. Teams are always adapting, innovating, trying to find that edge. England's win, while significant, doesn't mean they've cracked the code.
Right.
And France's loss doesn't mean they're out of the race.
Right.
The beauty of the Six Nations and rugby in general is that it's unpredictable.
For sure.
Every match is a new chapter, a chance to write a new story.
Beautifully put.
Yeah.
And on that note, a huge thank you to all our listeners for joining us on this deep dive into the world of rugby. We'll be back next week with another episode of Rugby Obsession, ready to break down all the action and analyze the latest developments in this captivating tournament.
Yes.
Until then, keep the passion for rugby burning bright.
Yeah, and you know what else highlights the evolution of rugby?
What's that?
This match showed the impact of club rugby on the international stage.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That Northampton Saints connection between Finn Smith and Tommy Freeman,
Right.
it was electric.
Those tries were something else, weren't they?
Oh, absolutely. That chemistry, that understanding they have from playing together week in, week out at the club level,
Yeah.
it's a real advantage for England.
It definitely showed on the pitch,
Yeah.
and it's something we're seeing more and more of in international rugby.
Yeah, the lines are blurring between club and country,
Right.
which is great for the sport, I think.
Yeah.
It raises the level of competition across the board.
It's so exciting for fans, too. You know, you get invested in these club rivalries, and then to see those same battles play out on the international stage,
It's fantastic.
it adds another layer of drama and intensity.
Absolutely. And it's something to keep an eye on as the Six Nations unfolds.
For sure. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to go back to something you said earlier
Okay.
about England being back in contention. Do you really think they have what it takes to go all the way this year?
I think they have the potential.
Okay.
This win over France was huge.
Yeah.
It's a massive confidence boost.
All right.
But they still have tough matches ahead.
True.
Ireland, Wales, they're both looking strong this year.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
It's going to be a tight race to the finish line, that's for sure. And speaking of the finish line, I want to remind everyone to hit that subscribe button and become a part of the Rugby Obsession community.
Oh, yeah.
We're your one-stop shop for all things rugby,
We are.
in-depth analysis, expert insights, and of course, all the passion and excitement of the Six Nations.
And don't forget to let us know your thoughts on the match.
Yeah, head over to our social media pages and share your takeaways. Who impressed you? What surprised you? We want to hear it all.
We do. It's a conversation, after all.
Exactly. So on that note, a massive thank you to everyone for joining us on this deep dive into that epic England-France clash. We'll be back next week with another episode of Rugby Obsession.
See you then.
Until then, keep the passion for rugby burning